Just like traditional work environments, educational facilities are infusing art collections to stimulate creativity and imagination. In this segment of Frame, Fine and Performing Arts Specialist Arby Barris is giving us access to Kirkwood Community College's extensive and spectacular art collection. Welcome to Frame, Arby.
Welcome.
Thank you. The beautiful gallery. We're starting the gallery. It's like eye candy everywhere. Okay, so let's anchor our conversation. First of all, can you please give the audience a background of your role here at Kirkwood?
Well, one of the things that I do is purchase art for new building projects. It's one of the most exciting things that I do, and I think it all starts with our president and his vision for the college. We have lots of great new building projects going on. It's really fun, and it's really great to get to know artists, to work with gallery owners.
Everything is so well done, and it's very clear that design is an important part of Kirkwood's communication and involvement in the community. So do you teach any classes as well as amassing this amazing collection?
I do. I teach art history, art appreciation, drawing, painting, conscious and humanities, so a lot of courses.
You are so well-rounded and a spectacular artist in your own right.
Well, thank you.
You are welcome. I understand that we are in front of a few of your favorite pieces. Would you explain to us what you have here in the gallery?
This is an exhibit that's in our Iowa Hall Gallery. These are photographs by Catherine Adams. She's an artist from Oklahoma, photographer. She was at the University of Iowa getting a PhD in art history, and she turned to photography. And the interesting thing about Catherine's work is that she uses 19th century processes. We have three processes here: cyanotype, Van Dyke, and pop.
Okay.
And I think they're magical, and it's just something that you can't get with digital photography. It's interesting because these are photographs of Italian ruins, Italian culture, from a 21st perspective using 19th century processes.
How long have you been here? Because
6 years.
6 years. And during the course of your tenure, how many additional pieces have you added to the collection?
Thousands.
Or did it start when you were here?
Well, the collection was in existence when I came here.
Okay.
But because there's so many new building projects, I would say thousands of pieces have been added.
Why is our collection so important to Kirkwood's mission?
Because it inspires students to have imagination, to think outside the box. If you're in a great surrounding with great design, great art, it helps your spirit to grow, and it helps your mind to grow.
This is true.
And we have photographs and original drawings, for example, that students can use in classes to write narratives, to write nonfiction work as well. So they can be used for all different purposes.
Let's talk about the range of media that you have in the collection.
The Kirkwood collection is diverse. We have representational painting, we have conceptual pieces. We have a Rembrandt, for example. Ooh. We have abstract sculpture, representational sculpture. We have a whole series of photographs of the Amanas. We have a women's series, a men's series. We have all different kinds of things here.
Do you have any works from people of color?
Absolutely.
Everybody. Very, very inclusive collection.
We have wonderful photographs of the civil rights movement from the 1960s. We have original photographs of Martin Luther King.
Really?
So it's really a great collection. Migrant workers we have an entire series of, so it's great.
Where do we find these?
All through Kirkwood.
Just take a tour.
Work has to do two things.
Okay.
It has to, first of all, complement the interior design. Also should reflect the people that are going to inhabit the building. And I think it's really important for students to be exposed to art and to experience the fullness that it has to offer, and to see it not as something just as a pretty piece, but somehow affects their lives.
It's meaningful, it has purpose, you're very purposeful.
Well, thank you.
I believe in everything that I've seen, and I know I've just personally touched the tip of the iceberg here.
You have.
You know where I'll be for a little while. Do you want to take a tour
Absolutely,
and discuss some of the pieces? Okay, we're going to take you on a tour.
Let's talk about this, because this is a really great piece. This is by Chuck Barth. He was a professor at Mount Mercy. And Chuck loves to use imagery from South America. And I think it is spectacular. Photographs by our photography students. So the entire wall is lined with these photographs, and I think they're just really beautiful and really magical.
They all are. I love this fall. All of them. I'm not going to pick a favorite. I appreciate
Okay, I think
them
that's
all.
good. I think that's politically correct.
Oh, it's honest.
It's honest.
And that one is beautiful. The colors, those flowers in the sky.
Gorgeous.
You can't make that up.
This is a really interesting piece because I bought it at a tattoo parlor.
Oh.
A friend of mine invited me to go to an art exhibit at a tattoo parlor. The owner is also an artist, and I saw this piece, which is the Sullivan brothers, that all of them lost their lives during World War II. I think they're from Waterloo.
Oh.
And so I thought this was a really good opportunity to combine history with art.
I agree. This is beautiful.
We have an original photograph of Martin Luther King. This is when he spoke at Coe College in the 1960s. This is one of my favorite pieces at Kirkwood, a photograph taken in the 1960s, The Child Divided, when a lot of the civil rights movement was happening. It's so evocative, and a copy of this is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So, this is by Joan Liffring-Zugbouré. I think it's one of the most moving pieces we have here.
Very much so. I appreciate the commitment that Kirkwood and you have to representing artists of all backgrounds and cultures. It's the way we learn.
It's very important.
Correct?
Yes, and this is of course the Arts and Humanities department, so these are watercolors of jazz musicians. And I think they work really well with this painted piece that also incorporates glass.
Mixed media.
It's a mixed media piece.
Oh,
He told me
goodness.
that he worked on this painting every day for 3 years. And I persuaded him to sell it to Kirkwood, and I had to work on it for 3 months. I really had to get his wife to agree to it. You can see why she wouldn't want to let it go.
Oh my goodness.
But it's scenes from Iran, from the beginnings of Iran to the deposition of the Shah. So I think it just has such wonderful opportunities from an artistic standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, from a historical standpoint, from a religious standpoint, just so many.
So I have a question for you. I'm
Yes.
walking around with my camera, as you all can see. Is it okay for people when they're touring the buildings to take photographs
But
of the
you know
art?
what, it's mandatory.
It's mandatory. Oh, we like this.
We call it a chandelier. It really is not a chandelier, but it's so colorful, so vibrant, so happy.
It is. Is this glass or plexiglass?
It's plexiglass. This is the piece. This is a kinetic piece outdoors. If you see it from the parking lot, has a wonderful relationship, especially when it's moving. It's not moving right now because the wind's not blowing, with the wind turbine. And 19th century African doors that I literally bought off a truck from a dealer. Through another dealer.
Whatever it takes, right? And doesn't your extensive network help you to
It really does help me, yes.
Those are beautiful. Look at the carving details.
This is by John Paul Schaefer that were featured in the Gazette. And so I love it when students from English come and do non-fictional pieces or fictional pieces. There's no explanation of what these pieces were used for, so I think it gives students a lot of really great opportunities.
Yes. Here we are in the lobby of the new Kirkwood Hotel, where RV is going to give us a little bit more insight into the collection that they amassed to accommodate the contemporary design of this absolutely exquisite space. And here he is.
Well, we have good news and we have bad news. The good news is that they only have 5 rooms available, which means that we cannot look at the presidential suite or the executive suite, which are really magnificent suites and really magnificent rooms with wonderful art, which means that if you want to see what the rooms at Kirkwood look like, you have to come and make a reservation.
All right. Okay. We can do that.
This is the lobby, though. And you can see these wonderful pieces by Jan Friedman. She's an Iowa City artist. These were woven especially for the lobby at the Kirkwood Hotel.
What is that, fabric?
It's fabric.
What were the considerations and criteria that you had for this space?
Well, the criteria was that all of the work had to work with the interior design of Opian Architects and had to be created by an Iowa artist or an artist with an Iowa affiliation and mostly local. There's a lot of student work. I would say half the work in the hotel is by students.
Oh, that's delicious.
all of the photography in the hotel is by students. There are hundreds of pieces of photography. We have another piece, another chandelier, created by Conifer Smith, whom you took the glass blowing class with.
Yes.
And Jessie Aronson, one of her students. I think the ball in the center is really spectacular.
That is. Do you have any wrapping thoughts for individuals watching the show and learning about the collection, just about art overall and its place in society, especially in commercial environments, if you will?
Well, I think commercial environments are waking up and smelling the coffee, and saying that art really does have a place in our everyday lives, yes, and is an important part of productivity in the workplace. It's certainly imperative for our students to have that here, and it's something that our Board of Trustees sees, and it's something that our President and our Cabinet see.
Well, we appreciate you, everyone involved in supporting you in the process of continuing to build this collection, and for giving students the hand up so their art can be seen by the world. So this is all
that's what it's about.
It is. It's all about that. Well, thank you everyone for tuning into this segment of Frame. There are offices that have art, and then there are offices that have art. In fact, art is in the DNA of the firm that we are visiting today. In this segment of Frame, we view the private Stammates commercial art collection that is filled with eclectic treasures. And to give us some insight and take us on this tour is the VP of Business Development, Bill Stammates. Bill, welcome to Frame.
Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. We're happy to be here as well. The office is just exquisite. It is like a museum, as one of your employees said.
Yeah.
What type of work do you do?
Well, we're a marketing company. We always have been a marketing company ever since 1923. My grandfather started the business. As a component of being a marketing company, of course, you have to have really great creative.
Yes.
That's part of the messaging and doing messaging for your client. And we've had a number of people here who have been artists. We actually kind of become a magnet for people who have a creative bent, particularly a visual art bent. So we've always been that, always had that. It's part of our DNA.
Give us a background. When did the collection start?
My father, who was the big art collector, and he started collecting art when he was very young, about 18. He started looking at art and getting really intrigued with it and started to collect art posters. So we have some art posters that he collected from the 50s. And then he started collecting paintings. He really started getting into different forms of art and was just a really great collector and really knew what he was buying and staying ahead of the curve, and really enjoyed learning about art and then buying art. So most of the collection that we have here comes from him. We've filled in, though, with family artwork from those of us in the family who are artists. So there's some of my work up on the walls.
Yes.
There's artwork from my stepmother, Susan Stammates, has her photos up, from my brother Peter, and from my cousin Tom. So
let's talk about your dad. At 18, you started collecting the posters. Do you know what triggered that?
I think what triggered that was an interest in art that goes back to my grandparents, in particular my grandmother, who had Grant Wood do a piece for the family called Over Mantelpiece, or Over Mantel Decoration. So Grant Wood was actually a craftsman. He was trained as a craftsman and became a painter sort of secondarily. So he did the mantle and the fireplace for my grandparents' home on Linden Drive. And then when it was done, my grandmother said, wouldn't it be nice if there was a painting over the mantle? So then Grant Wood did the painting over the mantle. It happened to be at a time when he was really hitting his stride, Grant Wood was, with his style that everyone knows him for, which was, you know, American Gothic and spring planting and all those great Grant Wood paintings.
Well, that's really
fascinating.
So
yeah, we lucked out. I think the family lucked out that he was in that mode when he was doing sort of this sort of stylized landscape approach.
Absolutely. How did he find out about these artists?
Well, that's where the passion for art came in. I think he would get books on them. He would figure out, I mean, this is before the internet, so he would get books on them and he'd figure out about them. And then he would go to collectors in New York and other places and look at their artwork, get pricing from them. He got to be so familiar with certain gallery owners in New York in particular that they would send him work. And then he would look at it and decide what he wanted to send back, the pieces he didn't want, and keep the ones he wanted, and then would send them a check for it. So I remember
That's
distinctly,
really
you know,
cool.
when I was 10, 11 years old, when he was buying these photographs, and they were all over our house, and he had this little library area in our house where he would look at different photographs and determine whether he wanted to buy them or not. And they had these crazy names, these guys like Ansel Adams and Imogene Cunningham and Ralph Eugene Meatyard, and these crazy photographers, and then they were really interesting images, and he was buying them, and way back then.
Before they became very well renowned.
Exactly.
Did he ever ask for your input, or any family members' input on what he was
Well, yeah, he would always
reviewing?
show work to my brother and me and say, what do you think? And my brother now is a collector of landscape photographs, I think because of that experience.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure. How did he decide what would stay in the office setting versus what he might take home?
Because he just took what was not completely filling his house, he would bring here. Because his house was pretty much just full. I mean, he's like the lady who buys too much Fiesta wear. I mean, it was just, he bought too much stuff. I mean, it was just loaded. Yeah.
Like high-end art hoarder?
Oh,
I mean,
pretty much. Yeah, he was buying. Yeah, and Susan was like, where are we going to put all this stuff? You're buying all this stuff.
We need another house,
Right.
or two or
I guess
five.
we're taking it down to Stammates and we'll put it there. So that's how we ended up with the art collection. A lot of it, yeah.
So why and when did he decide that it was important to have art in the commercial setting outside of, you know, the space issues at home? Was there a distinct plan, an intentional plan?
There was, I don't think there was as much just an intentional plan. We're going to put art here and it's really important. I think it's just that this is a family business. Art's important to the family. It is, like we've said, it's part of our DNA. We felt that, you know, we should have this stuff for people to see and view and understand and appreciate and create an aesthetic culture that people really want to be around and enjoy. So it's because we're a creative company, because the family appreciates art, it's sort of evolved. I don't think you can just sort of have something put in place without it being organic. It's more real because it can happen in an organic way.
Do you feel that it's this perk that is taken for granted in any way, or is consciously appreciated?
I honestly think that our employees really like the fact that we're a creative company. I think they like coming to work every day. I think they appreciate that they work for a company that does creative work but also has really great artwork all around them. That I think gets them in a certain mindset and mode for making good creative stuff.
I know that if I worked here, I would probably walk by a piece or two and think, that's it. That's the inspiration point for Project X, and somehow integrate that inspiration into the work.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had employees approach us a couple of years ago and said, look, we'd really like to know more about the artwork that's here, and can we put together something online or a brochure? And we did. So we have that not just for our employees, but also for clients to come in. And it's amazing how many employees will say, let me tell you about the artwork in here. And they know a little bit about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You understand the story. It's what an emotional connection.
Yeah.
The art really connects you more emotionally to, I think, your job and the company.
Absolutely it does.
That's pretty smart and really important in today's competitive environment when it comes to attracting and retaining top talent.
Absolutely.
And especially that's, I know, a topic for this area is making
it
sure
is
we
a big topic for this
keep
area.
The brains that we have here, because there are lots of them.
Right. We want to keep the really good, creative, smart brains here as much as we possibly can. And again, you know, we don't have beaches, we don't have mountains, so what are you going to do? You're going to have to do something from a creative standpoint to keep people engaged and wanting to be here.
What is the expanse of the collection?
Just about everything. We go from African sculptures mainly to pre-Columbian ceramic pieces to a lot of prints, a lot of print works like Rauschenberg, Aymara textiles and weavings, African masks and Mexican masks, Lisansky prints, local great artists. I think we pretty much run a gamut there. I don't think we're leaving a whole lot out of art.
I've seen it,
Yeah.
and I keep wandering through the halls, getting lost to get in love with all the art.
Yeah. Oh, the other big thing, of course, are the big feather pieces. They're feather headdresses from the Kayapo Indians from the Amazon.
Those are
and they're stunning.
yes.
Yeah.
I won't say anything. I'll just keep coming in. If I sit in the lobby and you're here again, you'll know why. What else can you tell me about the future for the acquisition of new art to add throughout?
You know, if there's going to be acquisition of new art, it probably won't be as profound and as prolific as what my dad did, but it will happen. I mean, and I collect a few pieces every year, and at some point I'm going to be like my dad, and my wife Ann's going to say, it's time to do something with all the artwork in the house. We're already out of wall space, and we're done. So it's all going to start coming down here.
Oh, that'll be exciting.
Yeah,
Let me come back. I want to check that out.
Yeah. These are feather pieces from the Kayapo Indians who live in the Amazon area, mainly Mato Grosso and the Amazon basin. They keep birds as pets. So they take the pin feathers from the birds they keep as pets and then make these headdresses for their rite of passage ceremonies. So you can see that all these beautiful, gorgeous feathers are from birds that they have. They then weave these together with beeswax and things like that. And you can see in this piece in particular, they actually have human hair that they use as part of the headdress as well.
And I just noticed that.
Yeah,
I've looked at this a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, remarkable.
Yeah, they're pretty remarkable pieces, and they're just gorgeous. This is Kuba cloth. Kuba people from the Congo.
Okay.
They put these together, and I think they're gorgeous because of the geometrics that they use on these. Very much a society that has a matrilineal lineage, and they're very kind of interesting that way. So they really follow the women and how things are happening with the women, which is very interesting.
Yes, sacred feminine.
Right, exactly. And a lot of African ethnic groups are ancestor worshippers, but they are not. They actually do believe in reincarnation, though, which is interesting.
Oh, kind of like the Egyptians.
Yeah, exactly.
Egyptians.
Yeah.
Ah, they're gorgeous.
These original Audubon prints, actually these were collected by my grandparents.
Oh.
So they go back that far. And they've just become part of the Stammates collection. So they're part of Stammates now. And this piece over here, this is a mask from the Dogon tribe that is from Mali. And they live in an area called the Bandiagar Cliffs. And so they're cliff dwellers, and they make these fabulous pieces. And you can tell by the shape of the head that it's Dogon. So you know exactly because of the dome shape of it that it's from that tribe.
Got it.
That's
beautiful.
So, yeah.
You were talking about the patina.
Yeah, the patina comes from actually when they use these for the rituals, they will sacrifice chicken or some animal, and they'll put the blood on them. So the patina is actually the blood from the bird or whatever animal they're sacrificing in part of the ritual.
This has been an absolute delight and privilege. Thank you.
Great.
Thank
well,
you
this
so
is fun.
much.
Thanks.
Good. It is fun to share art, and I really appreciate your time.
You bet.
Thank you so much for allowing us into the Stammates space to see their private commercial art collection. And thank you for tuning in to Frame. I wonder how the employees feel about the Stammates commercial art collection. Well, I'm going right to a source. Tammy has decided to join us and to give us her feedback about the art collection and the significance it has to her daily life here as an employee. How do you feel about the art collection? What difference does it make in your day to have all of these beautiful pieces of art around you?
With me, it first hit me, I guess, the day that I came to the office to do an interview before I started to work here. And when you opened up the front doors, immediately the different pieces that were on the wall, the Indian headdresses and things like that, the uniqueness of it was apparent, and just it gives the building character and interest, and I think that's a reflection of the people that work within it, both designers, writers, creative type people, as well as those people that are on what we would call the cognitive side of things. And the amount of information that I have been able to learn just from those people that I'm surrounded with every day.
You were here during the flood.
Yes.
As an employee, correct? What happened?
There was a lot of water.
Yes.
What happened the day that specifically sticks in my mind, we received an email in the morning that it was supposed to have flood waters were going to be at their peak here in our particular area. And Bill had requested those employees that were going to be in the area that lived here in town if they could get to the building and meet in the parking lot. We were trying to figure out how to get into the building because we couldn't open the doors because of the force of the water. So we figured out we needed to get on top of the building. So I actually called my father, who brought an extension ladder down so that we could get on top of the building. And Susan Stammates had a boat here, so they were taking people by boat from the parking lot over to the access area where the ladder was to the top of the building, and then we had an entrance because we have a loft inside the building. We were on a mission, and we were told for liability purposes we needed to be in the building as quick as we could, try to rescue whatever artwork we could get our hands on. We took it back, then trudged back through the water to the loft area with flashlights in hand and trying to hold on to everything. And then we took it upstairs in the loft to an area where we knew it would be safe until we could take it out.
Did you have a special ownership of saving the art?
The ownership was just the fact that it resembled so much of what the past had been for both the family, and some of the art pieces were photos and art pieces that were done by the family that were totally irreplaceable.
Nancy is another Stammates employee who has agreed to share her story about working in an environment that has art as a part of its DNA. Welcome to Frame, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining me. Will you tell us your role at the company?
My role and my title is Director of Communication Services.
Does your team ever comment about the art throughout the building serving as an inspiration point?
Oh yes. I hear it the most when we interview a new candidate for whatever position that we might have. Whenever the candidate says, tell us about Stammates, immediately, it's almost unanimous, everyone says, well, we work in a museum. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous, and we love our artwork, and it's inspiring. Yeah.
Does any of the artwork inspire you with your creative abilities?
Oh yeah, it does. It just keeps you in a creative mind all the time, just to see it and be around it, and even hallway banter between employees is clever puns and clever conversation, and it's just it is very inspiring.
Wonderful.
It's fun.
Oh, I can imagine. I can only imagine what it's like to work here.
There's some fun times and crazy times. But.
Speaking of crazy times, you were here for the flood, and that was a pretty intense moment for the company. Will you tell us your story?
It was, I believe, the Thursday after Bill put an email out to a select group of people and said, hey, we've got to save our artwork, can you come help? And I was more than willing. I mean, it meant a lot to me. I know how much it means to the Stammates. I remember everyone was very willing to work, but there was this silence and this tension in the air that this is serious stuff, and this really means a lot. And everyone was very focused on getting that artwork and taking care of it for the Stammates. It means a lot.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's been years, of course, since that event. How do you feel now walking through the front doors, looking at the pieces that you personally touched to save?
I look at those and say, yeah, those were there before and they're still here now, and I am very proud that I was part of that. And it shows a company that really cares for their people and for themselves to, you know, to have a good work environment. And
absolutely.
It's very important. So
thank you for joining us and sharing your story.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. The flood. Well, a couple of the employees gave us feedback on the flood. I would really like to hear the story from your point of view, since you have just a deeper level of connection to the art.
That's an emotional topic for me, because we really tried desperately to keep the water at bay, and there were a bunch of us down here sandbagging and keeping the water away. We finally heard this crash. This is June 12th, you know, in the afternoon, and of course the water hit its high peak on the 13th, June 13th, 2008. And we heard the crash to these loading dock doors we have. We knew that the place is just going to fill up with water. So we kind of were, okay, despondent about it. We'd had all of our employees put everything up on tables and chairs, including the artwork, thinking that that would be good enough. We all went home despondent that the place was being flooded, and we were, you know, very unhappy. I got a phone call from my stepmom, Susan. She said, do you think the artwork is up high enough? And I started to think about it, sitting at home eating a ham sandwich, and said, no, thanks very much for that, because now I'm really scared that it's not up high enough with the way that water was coming in. So I sent an email out to all the Stammates employees at 2:30 in the afternoon. And I said, if you can make it down to Stammates by 3:30, wear shorts and old tennis shoes and bring a flashlight, there's no power, we've got to do something with the artwork and see if we can move it. I had like 35 people show up in our parking lot saying, let's go, let's do this, let's rescue this artwork. So they did. Sorry.
That's okay. Take your time.
Yeah. So we put a ladder up on our building that Tammy Vanderweer's father supplied us. We went up the ladder. We all went down the building, 35 people with flashlights. It's pitch black. You can't see anything. And we're gathering all the artwork up, trying to find everything desperately. And we took it all up to an attic space we have, and we put it there. And it was great. We saved it. It was really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a testament
I
to
know.
the character of everybody who works here, their love and appreciation and respect for the art,
Exactly.
for the
That's
family,
it. Yeah.
the company, and each other.
And the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that shows you the kind of employees we have, the kind of family we have for
Right.
employees, the kind of culture that's important to them.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, it really touches your heart when you hear that. Yeah, you do that.
Wonderful.
Frame is sponsored by Allegra, Click Marketing Solutions, Style Folio Jewelry,